from a galaxy far, far away.
And a bookshelf straight out of the 90s.
From Thrawn to Dantooine.
And everything in between. This is Legends Look Back.
Oh, hello everyone, and welcome to Legends Look Back. Proudly part of the Eugenie Podcast Network, a Star Wars books podcast for people who know what Flash animation is.
Hey.
Where we celebrate the Star Wars expanded universe and expand your universe one episode at a time. I'm your host, Jared Mace, and I'm joined by my legendary co-hosts, Freddie C.
Hello, everyone. You know, I think Flash, gosh, that brings up some memories. I'd like to hear if anybody on the team spent a lot of extra time learning it.
You know who definitely knows what we're talking about? Emily Daybeck.
I don't know anything about what you're talking about at all. Not a clue.
Called it. Knew
Not
it.
a clue. I mean, that's my, specialty, isn't it? I just come in blind, what's that? Okay, what's Flash, and why is it important?
Never watched Homestar Runner?
No.
Didn't do the emails.
Email.
That's going to be a rabbit hole for another day.
Okay.
You know who knows way too much about that? Because, let's be honest, he's a middle schooler at heart. Rick Race!
It's true. Yeah, I literally in college took a class that was Flash design and development, and I kid you not, by the time the semester was over, Flash had been completely shut down, and it was discontinued and entirely irrelevant. Oh yeah, it's pretty great.
Did they give you a
but-
refund?
No, I mean, because the motto of the communication department was, you know what? We're teaching you the skills you need to figure out the software, not the software itself. Because also, Final Cut Pro is the same thing. Before it was Final Cut Pro X, it was the numbered versions and all that stuff.
Oh, the number of times I've heard Rick give this exact speech.
Yeah. So
About
anyway,
Final Cut
but
Pro.
yeah, it was fun. So Flash is it's animation, but it's with all the junky ads, banner ads of 10 years ago on every website imaginable. That was usually made in Flash, and so
It was
great homemade animations.
Yeah, low barrier to entry animation for dummies.
Yeah. Speaking of
Interesting.
animation, Jared, I really love the emoji you used for this week. So fitting.
Oh, the stars. Because we are talking about none other than this bad boy, this massive, this whopper. I mean, it's almost too big for the frame. That is the Star Wars Legends novel Star by Troy Denning. The Star Wars book that took me 7 months to read the first time around. And it might take Emily longer. Jury's still out on that one.
There's he who cast the first stone, Jared.
Hey,
Come on now.
Bible reference. Love to see
Okay,
it.
yeah, I didn't finish the book. But in my defense, this is the
It's long.
first book I've not finished. And I'm I've just moved in. I've just started a new job. I'm essentially solo parenting. So
Jared, that's the thing.
And you're in good company
Right?
because Freddie hasn't finished
Yeah,
yet.
well, okay. Rewind a bit here.
Freddie, except
Rewind
he's
a bit
also
here.
just moved.
Yeah. We've had a lot of life changes. We probably should do a quick little recap. We went through books 7 and 8, and I just had to review those because if you recall, I wasn't here for those. I had a wedding, I had a honeymoon, had a bunch of
They've
stuff.
been in the calendar for a year.
So I reviewed 7 last week and 8 as well, late last week, and I finished the abridged audio today, and I got about 7
That's better than
hours of the normal audiobook, AI-driven audiobook.
There you go.
So
the Robbit.
I'm okay right now. I know where we're at.
All right. Good enough. And we're going to have some great discussion about this. It's honestly one of the most divisive, controversial Star Wars books ever. And so I'm excited to get everybody's take on it, whether or not you've read every single one of the words contained in the, let's see here. Holy
two and a half
smokes.
times speed.
604, 5. Oh, no, more tucked behind the dust jacket. Holy smokes. 606 pages of the hardcover. Order 606, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh.
Star
No
by
wonder, because I was
Start.
reading and reading and reading, and I was like, golly, why am I 15% for ages? Anyway,
Right.
Well,
I did not make
going
it
back
very
to those audiobooks,
It feels like
7 and 8 are 7 to 8 to 9 hours each, the whole audiobook from start to beginning.
Oh, that's nothing.
No. And this one, though, is about if I calculated correctly, 19 or almost 20 hours.
I believe it. I mean, those
Oh my
both.
gosh, what a roundtable to
the
come
Greg,
back on. Jeez.
I know. The Greg Keyes books, those are both like 300 pages flat. Light, breezy, quick reads. This one is like, oh, I see your light, breezy, quick reads. Read and I raise you a scroll.
Now,
I mean,
in
this
fairness,
thing is like,
if he had to fit in all of this, Troy Denning is a male, correct? Is it a dude?
Oh, yeah.
Or- okay. So
Super
if
male.
he had to like fit in all of that, like if he was given the guidance, okay, like these characters need to die, you have to give backstory for that, you know?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we'll have full spoilers here for Star by Star in this episode of Legends Look Back, and we're going to get into that more and more as we get going. Of course, this that's the spoiler warning. If you haven't read it, do so, or do good enough and listen anyway, like
The
Freddie and
abridged,
Emily.
3 hours, you're done.
Well, it's missing a significant event in the history of the EU
Really
at the
is.
abridged version.
Yeah.
I know from experience because I also listened to the abridged getting ready for this episode, but did a lot of extra reading on top of that to get ready. This is a long-awaited seminal New Jedi Order novel, Star by Star by Troy Denning. This doorstopper of a novel shakes up the status quo massively, including, as Emily has alluded to, the death of another major character. Rick, fill us in. What are the deets? Give us Star by Star by the number. Tell us the backstory here. What are we talking about tonight?
So it was written by Troy Denning. Let's look at some cover art. Let me pull this up real quick.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the original cover art, the regular, the American version. Whose face do you think this is? Vicky Sesh?
I was hoping it was.
Looks like a
not.
Vicky to me.
And no, I totally that's like the insides of Vicky Shesh for sure. Who is that? I don't know.
It's like a werewolf in transition. You know, like
Yeah.
human.
Oh gosh.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be the Yuuzhan Vong.
One of the Vong. There's many.
There's the
As you know.
full
Oh
image.
my.
That is
That looks
quite
wrap around.
composite. That is quite a
The pink and purple. I do love the New Jedi Order wraparounds, the American. But
Yeah,
let's be honest,
I
guys. The
love it.
Japanese covers are goated. This is quite possibly the best one.
Oh man, those Vornskers, or what are they called? The voxyn.
Voxyn.
Yeah.
What'd you call me?
Yeah.
Hey, keep it clean. Keep it clean. This is a family show.
According to
Mon
Skooma Joe.
Calamari.
Ooh, yeah. According to Skooma Joe, I'm assuming the U.S. version, that's Savang La. His understanding.
You put some nice spiciness on that one, Freddie. I love it. Savong Law. Yeah, so great cover art here. Luke is looking... cut back to the American one more time. The look on Luke's face. Nope. The look on Luke's face looks about like Emily staring at the page count of Star by Star.
It adds up.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So great covers all around. This is, of course, one of the 5 New Jedi Order books that received a hardcover in general release. In fact, they almost went the double VHS route, like Braveheart or The Godfather, or Gone with the Wind for this one because it's so long. I'm just kidding. It's just massive. Huge book. One of the longest Star Wars books. In fact, I was going through the Discord archives today, and it looks, if I'm not mistaken, like the second of the Hand of Thrawn duology is in fact longer by word count. Though somebody can run to the shelves and let us know about page count in the hardcover versions. It's funny how these things can deviate depending on typesetting and boy, that's boring stuff to talk about. But some people love it. What do you guys say? Should we get into the deets? Ready to break into the summary? So, Freddie, lead us off here.
The Jedi are being hunted by genetically engineered force-hunting creatures called voxyn. The story opens with the death of Numa Rar, Twi'lek Jedi, sister to Alima Rar. With help from Jedi Master Silgal, the Jedi discover a secret behind the voxyn. They're modified from the Vornskers native to Merkur. What's more, they're all cloned from a single specimen, the Voxyn Queen. That is there you go. It's Who's next?
That was my original internet handle was Voxyn Queen 66.
At AOL.
All right, I'll keep the ball rolling. MSN.
Picking up babes on AIM with Voxyn Queen.
The Jedi, with the help of Lando Calrissian's Yuzhong Vong hunter droids, form a strike team coalition to infiltrate the Vong world ship Banu Ras over Mirkor and eliminate the Voxyn Queen. The strike team, led by Anakin Solo, consists of all 3 Solo kids, Ali Marar, who's hell-bent on revenge, Ganner Rhizode, Tahiri Vela, and Lobaka, several others. It's a big strike team. It's, not super discreet, this strike team. Emily,
like
let's keep the ball rolling here. What happens next?
After a less than optimal outset to the mission, the Jedi board the world ship Banu Ras, wherein they detect a surprising Force presence. Deviating from the original mission, they reroute their search to find the captive Jedi, only to discover a couple of treacherous dark Jedi, who eventually steal the Jedi's getaway car or ship. This results in the Jedi ambushed by Vong backup in overwhelming numbers. Anakin, in a heroic act of self-sacrifice, becomes one with the Force, fighting off the Vong so that the rest of the strike team can escape. R.I.P. Anakin.
We just watched Anakin die in Emily's eyes. That was
Yeah.
that was a goated live stream moment, right?
Jared.
I can just see her countenance go. And they're on this fun mission. They're rerouting, and they find some dark Jedi. And oh no,
Anakin.
Just you
watch her.
wait. Just you wait.
little piece of her soul died there.
Just get so attached.
Man, it's there's a lot. After killing the Voxyn Queen with the help of the enigmatic Vergeer, Jason is captured. And so this novel is not only a huge turning point in the New Jedi Order, but the entire trajectory of the expanded universe at large. By its conclusion, it has massively reset the status quo. Anakin killed, Jason captured, Jaina having given herself over to the dark side, ish, and Coruscant taken by the Yuzon Vong.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing will ever be quite the same.
I'm sorry, Jaina goes dark?
Ish.
Have you not looked at the titles of the books in the series? The one with Jaina's face on the cover
No.
is called Dark Journey.
I'm trying to give our listeners an authentic first-time reaction, because I feel like so many of us wish we could reread these for the first time.
In fact, it's pretty cool. She uses Force lightning to disintegrate some Vong, and I was
Wait,
I was
so
out
she's
mowing the
like
yard.
dark for good? How do you?
Well,
how is that?
I mean, yeah,
Is
you got to keep
anybody
reading the series.
always gone for good? You know, like, come on.
Interesting.
Chewbacca is.
Oh.
See, it's not about
Okay.
yikes, R.I.P. Chewbacca. It's not about who's gone for good. It's about the Yuzhan Vong we disintegrated along the way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many
Well,
of them
okay.
are there?
So Emily,
Yes.
there's a lot. There's okay.
mean,
Just to give you some
obviously-
insight, there's a bunch of world ships that haven't fully landed yet, and they need to, in order to land those world ships, they need to conquer like a world, basically. So there's just tons of world ships that are literally waiting to be landed on a planet. So there's more coming, I suppose.
So they're seeded with an entire ecosystem with all of their, their technology in order to seed a planet and start breeding. Yeah, my finger is spray painted, by the way, if people are distracted by that. I'm working on some Star Wars room projects. I was gesturing at the camera and distracted myself. Long story short, there's a lot of them. And a lot of them die in this book, but not nearly enough for that. Obviously the death of Anakin Solo is a big deal. We're going to get into it more, but first, as much as you're able to at this point, what's your rating of Star by Star? This is extremely, extremely controversial among the fandom. People love it and people hate it. I believe we've got listener here tonight. Jalen says it's her favorite Star Wars book, if I'm not mistaken. It's really, really well written. If you like Denning's got a very, very, very pronounced style.
Yeah.
He kind of creates what's called the Denning verse. He's got a handful of pet characters that he likes to come back to, and a lot of authors do this. Zahn does it for sure. Stackpole, but the Saba Sabatine, the Tazar Sabatine, Alima Rar, these are all very Denning specific characters. But he was handed a tough one. In the New Jedi Order Bible, according to the lore, he was messaging Shelley Shapiro and says, upon reading the New Jedi Order Bible, getting ready to write this book, he's flabbergasted to discover the death of Chewie in Vector Prime. So he writes to her and is like, "No way, we killed Chewie! I can't believe it!" And she's chuckling like, "Haha, you haven't gotten to your book yet, have you?" And then he discovers that he has been, in fact, conscripted to write the death of Anakin Solo as well. We'll talk about that more in a minute. What's your rating? This time around, my read-through, I went much faster than last time. Loved it. Found this to be a very compelling read. First time I was really quite confused. I could not keep track of what was happening on the world ship. It was so confusing to me. This time around, I kind of knew the main beats. I could track with it. Rick, you're locked and loaded, ready to go. What's your review of Star by Star?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a masterpiece for me. It's going to go on my favorite list for sure.
Wow.
There's so much that happens, and it is consequential. There's so many books that are entertaining to read and that are, memorable, but this definitely is clearly one that, like, things change because of this, and that's what I'm excited about. And I always love a good, sacrifice of a character. Like, it's kind of, I guess, dark, but it's just, when it's a meaningful, like, sacrifice, which both Chewie and Anakin kind of were. So, I don't know. The feels are good, and you go through the experience. It's an experience, and it is a moving story. And oh god,
I cried. I'll admit it. I cried.
Oh yeah,
I cried. Absolutely,
I cried a lot,
Yep.
dude. Like, this was
I had to stop
harsh.
the lawnmower.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Had to pull it over into the service lane,
And
aka just turn it off.
Emily, just give you a heads up. Anakin's death isn't the worst part.
What?
It's the reaction to Anakin's death.
Oh man. Okay.
Oh no.
Oh, I've got a bone to pick with that.
We.
I've got a bone to pick with that. You're talking about Leia's reaction specifically.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yep.
So
Go ahead, Freddie.
I sort of want to give a rating first before we go to a specific clip. So
Yeah. Give your rating.
man, this one really hits you in the feels, right? Before this, we've got what is it? Rebirth? I think we've got Rebirth, right? Edge of Victory, Rebirth, the Edge of Victory 2. And in that one, there was a bit of chaos, and in the end, the baby was born, right? And we got to see it, in my opinion, like the true light side of the Force through Luke's perception. And this one was, man, just when you're feeling good, you see some battles being won, you have to almost rewind and listen to it again. That's what I had to do. I was like, wait a minute, what just happened? That's what I kept saying. I had to listen to it twice, and I was like, oh my goodness. And it that wasn't it. It keeps going. Just like this series, it keeps going. It keeps hitting you, and it's just like,
There are depths, you could say.
there are depths. So, when we get to talking to Anakin, let's talk about the reaction. But, really good book.
Yeah.
This is, this one will hit you in the feels too. When you see Chewbacca,
You'll need to sink
go
your
and-
teeth into it slower one day.
Yeah. It's a hard one. Anyway,
On the reread of the New Jedi Order. Once Penelope's in college. All right, Emily, your review so far thus far of New Jedi Order Star by Star.
Review to a book which I have not
'Kay.
read. What's your review?
All right. Yeah, this time around it was incredible, borderline masterpiece.
Okay.
Really, the way he wove a lot of things together. It's a fun adventure too. It's just fun. It's so different than the other New Jedi Order books. Starts off with the Vornskurs, which like ties back into Zahn stuff, which I love the original Thrawn trilogy with a passion. And so it's like, and they're bred from the Vornskurs over. Yeah, these are the voxyn, bred from Vornskurs from Mirkor, and I'm just like, I'm here for it. I love it. And then Anakin's like, we got to go kill the queen. Yes, we got to go kill the queen. That's awesome. We need a strike team. And then Lando's like, what have we here? And he's got these stupid droids, but they like kind of make it where
They're super
the Jedi can.
droid.
they can compete more with the Vong now because they don't have that debilitating deficiency where they can't detect the enemy through the forest and they can cut through the coral armor, the Vonden crab armor. It's so stupid. I love it. And they all have Lando's voice, right?
What have we here?
Yeah.
Well. Hey, Chewbacca.
They all speak like Lando, which is so dumb. And then like there's so many twists and turns where things don't go well and it's gut wrenching and action packed and wow. The scene where Anakin dies is quite possibly one of the most poignantly well-written scenes in all of Star Wars. I've got it queued up right here, page 454, if you're following along at home in the hardcover. A plasma ball roared through the Grashel door and set fire to a 20-meter swath of cloning vines. Anakin charged back toward the melted membrane, miniature forks of lightning dancing off his arms and legs. The Force swirling through him like fire, burning more ferociously every moment. He was completely filled with the strength of the light side now. His injured body could hold on no more. The energy was burning its way out of him, consuming a vessel too weakened to contain it. It's so good. It's so good. Love it.
Yeah.
It's great.
I suggest reading this part because, Rick, now that we're here, I'm going to toss you over to the abridged audiobook.
Yes.
And
this is a little bit later. And
not too much later. Like it's
reaction. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, it's reactionary.
It's like the next
later,
chapter, basically.
Another chapter. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
So it ends.
Fair warning to the listeners: the abridged audiobooks are not regarded super highly by the fandom.
Right.
Perhaps here's why.
This will make you. This will might turn a dark moment. Well, we'll see.
You're cursed for that, man. Cursed. The ghost of Anakin Solo is going to haunt you now. His blue glowy is going to be right behind you mid-live stream, haunting you for doing that. It's a poignant moment. Leia's reaction to the death of her son, not quite up there with the Wookiee with the speech impediment.
This what's funny is I almost clipped that exact same moment because I have like a computer reading it, but mine has a Scottish voice, and so somehow it was moan and Scottish. Like it was.
I need to get the Snoop Dogg voice. Need to get the Snoop Dogg on Speechify to read it.
Yep.
Oh man.
Goodness.
We'll have to clip that
Wow.
later.
I actually, on a conceptual level, have a bone to pick with that scene. People are talking about it in the chat. Yeah, Jalen says, "Oh gosh, I didn't think I was going to laugh watching this episode." We have to undercut the tragedy with humor.
Sheesh.
I've got a bone to pick with this. Leia reacts strongly, very emotionally to the death of her son. She feels it through the Force. And it's beautifully written. It makes sense. It's logical. It's emotional. I get it. Maybe I'm heartless. My problem with it is the source material in A New Hope. Leia does not react to the death of her family on Alderaan. She instead consoles Luke when his mentor of 2 weeks dies. She takes that like a very strong... I imagine that she has a breakdown later, like it all catches up to her after the Death Star blows up and after the medal ceremony. I imagine it all catches up to her in my headcanon. But
isn't that like...
Here it's an opposite reaction, so it's not true to the character is my problem.
Disagree.
Go for it. Please do.
So at this point, they're midway through a brutal, bloody war. They have already encountered so much loss. I think that this is her finding her limit. It's like I think, like the stages of grief, where like when Alderaan happened, she didn't even know that was possible. So she was like, I think heavily in the denial stage. And this was like a young Leia. Like she hadn't experienced a ton. And so, but this is Leia after having like, I feel like also too, the grief that you experience for a child is much deeper
Through the
and more
Force.
profound through the Force than the grief that you feel for like the family from which you came. Like it just, it is more personal because she was
I don't know that we
there.
can quantify that.
Maybe not,
I
but
think
in my opinion, I see it. Like I see where she's at,
Yeah.
and
It's logical.
she's at.
I've
her-
lost a parent. It's not good.
Yeah. No, definitely. I'm not saying that.
But I've not lost a child. either, which might feel worse. But I see your argument. My headcanon on this is that, honestly, George Lucas, it's kind of a deficiency of A New Hope that Leia doesn't mourn the loss of her family.
But
I consider that like...
But in the same sense, Luke doesn't mourn the loss either. You know? Like, he doesn't sense the loss like Obi-Wan Kenobi does. You know? And so, like, I think it's Luke and Leia not being attuned to the Force because they're not trained yet. I think that's something that you just, like...
she knows her planet is blown up and her parents were on it.
But she doesn't... I see. Your issue is the reaction, not the Force ability.
Right. And
I
so
see.
she doesn't react emotionally to the death of her family in A New Hope. And I consider that a deficiency on George Lucas's part. And Star Wars is a perfect movie, don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining about it. So I consider that Denning is making up for that. I think he's writing a much more logical, emotional response to the death of a child, which makes more sense than what happened in the original. But the fact is that both are Star Wars, so they don't quite mesh for me. I'll quit complaining.
I'll fix it in my headcanon by saying that, you know, she knew that her parents were rebels and the Empire was targeting them and all that. So maybe she kind of saw it coming. And she didn't know that they were on the planet for sure. Maybe she had hoped that they had gotten out, and she had a little bit of hope.
Yeah, the denial made sense. I'd never considered that. In all my years as a Star Wars fan, that never crossed my mind.
You're welcome.
I've always thought she was compensating for the fact that she was trying to be strong around Tarkin and Vader.
Oh, yeah.
Like she couldn't show vulnerability.
Yeah,
in that
she couldn't
moment.
process it then. She had to have processed it later. And honestly, like, this is in no way the same at all. But, like, I consider myself a strong woman. I've dealt with a lot of things in life. And, you
have to be as a military wife.
You do. And your tolerance, like, you can say, like, okay, I'm here. I can handle it. And then, like, things just keep adding on. And then eventually you reach a point where you're like, okay, I really can't handle any more of this. Like this, I'm done. And I see where her character is at right now. And I see how she was just like in the moment. Like when I'm in the middle of a move, it's very stressful and I can't process it emotionally until months later. It's like at the moment, like you're just focused on the next thing. Like you're focused on whatever you can control, right? She can't control the fact that her planet just got exploded. She has to protect the rebels. That's her family now. And so she's focused entirely on the thing that she can control. So I understand her reaction in A New Hope. I have no problem with it. But I can see how you would think that she might react a little more emotionally.
Yeah, and it's just, it's good for the debate. Freddie, what do you want to weigh in on this one?
I mean, I don't think I can add.
I could use somebody coming to my defense. That would be great if you would do that.
No, you're indefensible. We have the high ground, the moral high ground. No, not the moral high ground, but...
There's a big connection there with the Force that I feel like can really drive her to a place that she's probably never been before emotionally. I could see that. That would be the retcon, I suppose. Jared, you could just say that.
She's had some Force training since A New Hope.
Yes, there you go.
And her son, the fact that Anakin has become one with the Force while living and fighting, I imagine she felt that too. I mean, that kind of... I consider it like he is the epitome of the light side of the Force for that brief moment. He and the light side of the Force become synonymous. And if you are a light side user, no matter where you are in the galaxy, you would feel that, especially if you're family. You already have that strong bond.
Sheesh.
Man,
that couple
good
pages,
debate.
though, of Leia's reaction is some of the best written Star Wars I think there is.
Wow.
Like,
That was beautiful.
Man, and just like... I'm rereading it right now, like the pages before and after. I wish we could just stop and read it because it's so good. And
yeah,
powerful. It says the right words, simply.
Great comment from Isgul. Absolutely great comment, though it doesn't necessarily agree with me. We'll give you credit. There's a lot of stuff that happens in Leia's life between A New Hope and Star by Star. A lot of development can happen in that time frame, and I'm totally discounting that. So you're right. Absolutely, 100%. So let's talk about the character of Anakin Solo. Let's give him a bit of a send-off. This is a huge defining moment for the expanded universe. The fact that a character who did not exist in the original trilogy, who is the spawn of two of our main legacy characters, he now has been built up through the Junior Jedi Knights series as well as this. the New Jedi Order in such a very well-written, well-established way. He's given a full character arc, and then he dies a heroic, tragic death. Let's give Anakin Solo. Pour one out for Anakin. It's your send-off. What's your... how do you feel about Anakin's death? Is this something they should have done in the New Jedi Order? Is this something that for you was like... I know a lot of people who have said this is when they quit reading the expanded universe. This was the nail in the coffin for them. I've heard 100 different people give 100 different reasons on that. I think most of them are full of it and keep reading it anyway. But this was an egregious story choice for some. And yet for others, it was a really well-written moment that shows sacrifice and character depth and stakes for the plot of the series. Freddie, weigh in on the death of Anakin Solo.
It's huge. You know, if you were reading Legends to this point back when these were all published, Anakin Solo was almost a household name to you and probably the community, right? That Anakin, we saw him grow up essentially from a child, a baby to, in my opinion, just hearing and seeing, well, obviously reading Anakin's battle, right? How intense it was. I was thinking, oh my goodness, this child who is, I don't know how old he is in this book at this time. Is he 15 or 16? I forget.
Yeah, in that area.
Either way, he is fighting like as a warrior at that age and doing really well and being incredibly heroic up until the very, very last moment. Literally just imagine him pushing that, what was it, that detonator or whatever it was, that bomb, whatever it was that exploded essentially.
The Borsk bomb?
Yeah. So it was just, it's interesting because I feel like the direction Anakin Solo was taking was different, right? He was struggling with kind of the light side, the dark side, and then kind of see him take this full turn into heroism. I can't even speak right now, but he died a hero, an incredible hero, an incredible warrior. Really hits you hard, and it after this much death, it's kind of like it reminds me of The Walking Dead. After so many characters, how many until people are just like, I can't do this anymore? It's just too much.
Right. And he really defines the heroic self-sacrifice that is the light side of the Force. Yeah. He represents this side of the New Jedi Order, what it is like the best that they can be as a brave dying warrior who dies for good. And the fact that he stands even for saving the Dark Jedi, even after they do that and they're betrayed, he's like, it was still the right thing to do. Unwavering, unflinching
Chewbacca
ethics.
Would have been happy.
Sure, Chewbacca died to save him. Exactly. Rick, Emily, Anakin Solo, what's your thought, impression? How are you handling it? Are you okay? Do you need a tissue?
Sheesh. I'm right on the blade's edge, man. Yeah, you had me read all of the Junior Jedi Knights, and so I was like, yeah, Anakin, Tahiri, woohoo! And then just to see that, and man, like I haven't had enough of Tahiri processing her grief either. Yeah.
Oh well, there's a lot of that to come.
Oh good.
Oh boy, is there?
Good.
It does a number on her.
Sheesh.
I'm
not
it's
surprised.
not good.
Not surprised. And so, man, I have the feels. I have all the feels.
Oh, there's some crazy stuff coming in that regard. Oh, I'm dying to talk about it.
Well,
Emily, Anakin Solo, how are you feeling?
Well, since I didn't get to that part, I don't know. It feels a little bit abstract to me because I didn't read it firsthand yet.
You're still in the denial stage.
Still in the denial stage, yes. But I will say I love the emotional arc that reading can take you on. I feel like even though I hate it, I also love to feel that depth of emotion, to and to experience a true loss. Because I feel like in Star Wars, especially in canon, I feel like characters mostly don't really die,
Sure.
And so I think it's rare because readers really don't like it as a whole. So I think it's really precious when we do find a really well-written, well-executed death of a main character. And I do actually, I value that because that's beautiful writing, and it's a hard choice that they have to make. And I think that the story as a whole benefits greatly when we have to do this kind of thing. So, I look forward to
Crazy that they can make you love. They can make you love a fictional character this much.
Yeah, and it almost like anchors that character in your heart. We're like, if they continue to live, like, you know, you either like die the hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Well, hang on to that thought.
Okay,
That's gonna
go on.
yeah.
Just in this book, can we talk about the other death that kind of is a happy death?
Sure.
Yeah. So during the capture of Coruscant, it's chaos. There's all kinds of, you know, back and forths, and you know, one of the first things you're going to go after is the head of state. And so Borsk doesn't run, and he kind of just sits at his desk, waits for the enemies to come, and then blows himself up and takes like a mile block or something with him. And yeah,
The book calls it 25,000 new Yuzhan Bong who die in the explosion.
Yeah,
Oh my
and
goodness.
you know, it wasn't that big of a drop in the bucket, but it still was okay. Respect, man, for the way you went out after being such a dingus for so much of the storyline.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's interesting, Rick, you bring this up because, right, Jared, you mentioned that we hated Borsk forever since the X-Wing.
You love to hate him.
Yeah, you love
He
to
is
hate
the
him.
epitome of you love to hate him.
Yeah. But he really, in his conversations with Leia, it seems like he always had the path, and he's very risk averse essentially, and very he's looking out for himself, but he's also very risk averse with the affairs of the government, and often what we're dealing with is wars, which is the opposite of what Borsk wants, right? They'd prefer not to have that because it creates chaos, instability, logistics issues, etc. But for him to, you know, in this, we kind of see the loss of his political power, and I think his true colors shine, which is unrestricted by the political affiliations he needed to create to get that power. So now he's without it, and he's like, I don't care. Like, this is how I really feel.
yeah,
Boom.
yeah.
What I love about it is you spend so much time hating the character, and then this comes. And then when you reread it, you read him in a totally new light. It's like, yeah, he's maddening, but you read him through the lens of his own culture and the Bothans. There's a lot in Legends about Bothan culture and the way that they kind of power grab and backstab. And that's kind of like the classic, you know, all Rhodians are bounty hunters kind of thing that Star Wars does. Like, all Bothans are spies. But he spends so much of his career vying for political power, trying to, you know, he'll scrape and scrimp and undercut and backstab to get political power. But then this shows he actually has been doing that the whole time because he loves the people, because he cares about the New Republic. And he genuinely has been doing it, though sometimes in less than reputable means, from a desire. You know, this is revisionist history now that he's died in a heroic self-sacrifice, that he's been doing it from a good place, a good motive of he wants the best for the New Republic. And it to me totally redeems the character. I find it so fantastic. A great turn for Borsk. Emily, though you've not necessarily gotten to his tragic death, you certainly have loved to hate Borsk alongside the best of us. Are you surprised that his character has a noble self-sacrifice?
I don't know. I mean, I love a redemption arc. And I do. He is like a kind of a perfect villain in that he's very gray. Like, you don't really know what he really wants until the very end.
Sure.
And even then, it's like, I think it's fascinating to see what people choose when their backs are up against a wall, when they really only have black and white choices versus like the multitude of gray choices that we have every day. I think you see, and that's what happened with Anakin as well, where like it went from like the world kind of clarified in a moment, and it became, instead of gray and questioning, it became like, I get one choice or the other. And I love it. I think that I love that it adds that depth to his character.
Yeah, love that perspective. You know who else is morally gray? Is a character that we're just beginning to get to know. Vergere, the avian. What has been revealed about Vergere? She's Anakin's. She's Jason's rescuer, and she aids him in taking out the Voxyn Queen. Though she's been working for the Yuuzhan Vong. She's Nominor's rival here. You'll remember from previous book. I believe it was the first Greg Keyes book. I could be wrong on that. It all starts to blend together. It could be Balance Point. Vergere heals Mara with her tears. She's got healing tears, as all birds do. If you can go make birds cry, they'll do that. But she's very morally gray. We're really not sure what to think about her. There's more coming with this character, but what are your impressions of Vergere so far, Freddie?
I feel like there's a keystone, and it's unfortunate I know what's going to happen here, but I don't think
Too much time on the book,
I
Freddie?
don't think we realize what's about to become what happened with the introduction of this character. That's all. For those who
And
haven't seen it yet, it's like, uh-oh.
Right. There's also some, what are those things called where retcons?
Yeah.
Where there's an established chronology, and then later we find out, oh, there was actually more to the story. So she's kind of a character that you can kind of craft your headcanon around what you think, your conspiracy theory. And then there's also what's on the page. What's on the page so far it's been mysterious. Rick, how are you feeling about Vergere?
Yeah, I definitely don't trust her. I think being a okay, so like chaotic question mark. Is she good or is she chaotic bad? I don't know. But she's definitely causing enough chaos to be doing something. And and sometimes she's friend, sometimes she's foe. And so I don't know, what to believe about her yet.
She has her own agenda. We just don't know what it is.
Exactly. That's a good way to say it.
Yeah, absolutely. And even with all of Legends being written and over at this point, for now, theoretically, question mark with an asterisk, I still personally am not 100% sure my judgment on Vergere, other than very interesting character. Yeah. Really, really great wrinkle into the new Jedi Order, because up until this point, you've got Jedi, and then you've got brutal invaders from another galaxy. And so having someone that's somewhere else on this spectrum is a lot of fun. You know who else is a lot of fun and a unique contribution to Star by Star are the Voxyn, the genetically engineered, or the Jedi hunting. What do they have? Six leg
crocodile,
yeah,
spider.
Beasts.
Okay, so I thought when I read the description, in my head, it was some sort of massive evil fire ant. And that's what I had pictured running around. And then I looked up the pictures later.
I like that.
Wow, I was way off.
I like that, though. I like that.
I feel like it makes sense. They spit that weird acid stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
I was picturing, what is it? Nexu or Neku,
okay.
Like from Attack of the Clones. Like furred mammalian kind of creature, that powerful tail and like a lioness kind of thing. That's what I was imagining. So this was interesting. I prefer my.
I like that it's a Yuuzhan Vongified heir to the Empire creature.
Scuba Joe.
So
it's like Darth Barney.
Darth Barney.
It's up there with Hot Dog Boba Fett.
Darth Barney. Scuba Joe has a fun fact. The Voxyn were based on the xenomorphs
heck
from
yeah.
Alien.
Let's go.
That's cool.
It's nice.
By the way, the new movie is really good.
Yeah.
There's so many fun and wild behind-the-scenes things that contributed to this book. In fact, the fact that this book exists in a cohesive, coherent form at all, if you want to call it that, some people would beg to disagree, is remarkable, because, of course, in the original story pitch for the New Jedi Order, and there's a lot about this out there. You could dig deep in the Essential Reader's Companion on the book, the New Jedi Order interview that's in the back of, I believe, Unifying Force. There's a lot of sources here, but this death was not supposed to be Anakin. In the original pitch, the original draft for Star Wars, Anakin for the New Jedi Order, Anakin Solo was supposed to be the hero of the series. George Lucas didn't like that there was an Anakin Solo when he was trying to make the prequels. He said, "Kill him off." This is a George mandate. And they had to rework the entire series around this tentpole moment, which leads me to the question, who killed Anakin Solo? We're going to settle it once and for all. Is it, in column A, in one corner, George Lucas killed Anakin Solo? 2, did Troy Denning kill Anakin Solo? 3, in your opinion, did Yuuzhan Vong kill Anakin Solo? Or 4, did the Force kill Anakin Solo? Perhaps you could say the Voxyn killed Anakin. Who's the most responsible for the death of this character, guys? I've spent a lot of time this weekend contemplating this.
What were your options?
G-level canon, man.
George Lucas comes in like the moon that crushes Chewie and says, "Kill him, kill him." I rework your entire series around this. I don't want Anakin and a character named Anakin being the hero of this series. Take him out, and then
George,
but then Troy Denning,
Troy.
the Yuuzhan Vong, the Voxyn, or perhaps even the Force. The Force is ultimately he disintegrates into the Force, right?
Yep.
Or did they retrieve his body? I can't remember.
No, I think they.
We've got a ticker. Yes, he's got categories. He's got a scoreboard.
I'm ready to go.
We've got a scoreboard. Wow.
This is officially legal record at this point, so we will close the case after this.
I think it was George.
Okay. All right, 1 point for George. Emily, why?
It sounds like something he would do. Yeah. And it makes sense because I feel like they were teeing Anakin up to be like to have this big debate and then to ultimately choose a side and maybe even change sides. Like I felt like his was like a slow burn kind of arc where like he was there, but it like they were teeing him up. I thought. Oh, sorry. So it would make sense, and then also it makes sense that George would only want one Anakin. But I also see why writers would want a different Anakin with a different ending. You know, to kind of redeem the Darth Vader storyline. So I think it was George. Yeah, that's it.
All right, we got a great comment. We're going to count all the comments in the chat on the scoreboard just for fun to get these numbers up higher. So Fulcrum 47 says red and yellow together. I'm colorblind, so I don't know which ones those are. All right, there we go. And we got the Force and George. We can count 2 points for. We got a vote for Troy from School. Love to see it. Fun George Lucas fact while our fans vote in the chat. I've got a buddy that I work on bikes with at the nonprofit I volunteer with. He used to be a cabinet maker in Chicago. He did the cabinets in George Lucas's house in Chicago. Yeah, he did George's cabinets, and he said what they would do is they would do a great job. They would spend weeks making the cabinets. They'd do the cabinets. Melody, his wife, would come in, and she would say, "I don't like it. Tear them all out." And then George would say, "Tear them all out. Start over." And they would tear them all out and start over. And this happened over and over and over and over for a whole year.
That's insane.
I was like, "What's your impression of George Lucas?" He's like, "Oh, he was just quiet. Melody was the one calling the shots." So I was like hanging on his every word. I was like, "Bill, tell me more.
He's over there.
Tell me more.
Faster, more intense."
So, all right. So the tallies are trickling in.
Can I say everybody but Troy Denning?
Right?
Sure.
Like,
All right.
we
Let's
feel
put
so
him on the
bad
board.
for
Put him on the
that
board.
boy.
I'm not sure if Troy Denning had a choice to make. If George said, "Kill him," you're gonna kill it. You got to do it. There's no choice.
Also, that quote earlier on in the show about how he was like mourning the loss of Chewie, and then the other author was like, "You haven't gotten to yours yet."
Yeah.
Like someone else told him.
I think we've got a pretty decent conclusion here that George has got 3 points, and the Force has got another 3 points, and this is including everyone in the chat.
It's like a chicken or the egg situation. Was it George or the Force? Like creator or creation? Who knows?
Troy Denning, no choice. He had no choice.
No choice.
George said, kill him. And Troy said, yes, sir. Whatever you want. You're paying my check. So, anyway, I think that's the vote there. Did we count all the votes? Everyone vote in the chat? I think everyone agrees. I think we're good.
Scuba's got some logic. He says that apparently George only told them not to make him, Anakin, the main character, but he didn't tell them to kill him. So maybe, maybe that saves some culpability from George.
At least that's what his assistant said, right? He didn't say kill him, but in the back room, kill him. I want him dead.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't like that guy. That's just, I don't know what accent that was, but that was not.
But also, but if you're an author and you're if you plan to make one character like the main character, then if you reach a point and you find out later on that he's not to be the main character, then what are you supposed? He has to go out either in a blaze of glory. There's no way to back down from that gracefully without killing the character.
Yeah.
So it depends on what stage along the line that George Lucas was like, listen, you can't make this dude the main character.
I say we sit on it for a minute, see if we get some inspiration.
Oh my gosh!
Other votes in.
Did Troy come for Jared too?
Yep, Jared's gone. Troy,
Jared's gone.
You know what?
I felt that loss of the Force. Did you?
I thought I heard George come through the microphone saying, "Get him, get that guy." So I think Jared's been lost to George Lucas's team.
Yeah,
he's currently in Chicago, probably right now.
Could be. What do you guys think about the whole rescuing the Dark Jedi thing? Was that something that was worthwhile, or you should have just let them to die?
Well, I feel like what it does is it gives perspective to those who may be corrupted by darkness. The beacon of light, beacon of hope, always lighting a path for those who need it or are looking for it, and it just inspires them to think, if they're in a situation, they might do the same, right? They might commit a good deed because of that. And in my opinion, it's what else are we going to do? And it looks like we've got, I've taken an analysis. Someone just came into the chat here. It looks like analyzing the DNA sequence, it's exactly like Jared's.
It's the ghost of Christmas past.
It looks like he may be trying to come in here real soon. But what do you think, Emily?
About what?
The Dark Jedi thing.
Yeah. Saving a Dark Jedi, good or bad?
I mean, you know me. I bought a Dark Side T-shirt. It's my first Star Wars T-shirt I've bought since my original Utini one. They didn't have any Bane. I would totally have gone with a Bane, but no, it's just a Target.
Darth Hannah?
No Darth Hannah. I have to make that one. I'll make that one later.
Oh, dude, give me one of those.
Yeah, it's just like Sith Lord. So I was like, oh, I have to get that. So yeah, you know me. I love a nice morally gray character. I love when evil characters are also good. I love that.
Well, and these guys too, they're not Sith. They're just Dark Jedi. Went to the Shadow Academy stuff thing. They
splintered.
They're
from.
Huh?
Didn't they splinter from the original group to a whole other thought of how the Jedi should be? Is that how it happened?
I can't remember. I don't know their backstory, and I kind of skimmed through it quickly in the book. But I don't know. They've been helpful. I'm kind of reading ahead a little bit, and ish. I mean, for now, but I could be saying this, and then a month from now, I'm like, nope, they should have let him die.
Are they chaotic neutral? Is that their deal?
Yes.
Okay.
Right now, at least.
All right.
Yeah. They're kind of unhindered.
Yeah.
They're definitely on the path to darkness. One of the other thoughts I had was, because I read 7 and 8 really recently, so those are pretty fresh in my mind. Coming off of the birth of, in my opinion, it's so crazy, right? That cyclical thing that we talk about the Force. We've got the birth of Luke's son, right? I think it's Luke's son, and then we've got Ben, right? We've got Ben, and then the loss of Anakin Solo, and it almost overshadows what happened in Rebirth, like the whole birth of Anakin and Mara coming back to life, and it was such a counter to that Rebirth. I was hoping to see a little bit more Rise, and then boom, you just get dropped. I guess what did you guys feel after reading those past books and then coming into this one? Emily, you've read a decent amount of this one, I think, to understand what's happening at the beginning.
I don't know how I feel, but I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like, you kind of want each major moment in the books to have a proper moment, you know, like a birth is a big deal. A coming back from an almost certain death is a big deal. And then all of a sudden you just get blindsided by the death of a different, unexpected major character. I mean, I love to hate it. I eat this stuff up for breakfast. You know, like, I just think it's like so unexpected. Because, like, truly, like, when you read enough books, it's difficult to be surprised anymore. Like, you know what's coming. Yeah. You know the main character shouldn't die. You know who's going to end up getting together. You know who's going to end up, like, doing something for their own selfish gain. And then to be surprised, like, truly surprised like this, I think is the mark of a truly good series.
Okay, so... Oh, sorry, were you mid-thought there?
No, I was done.
Okay. So, Freddie, your question about, like, the trajectory of the previous books and getting here, I was really... Okay, I was surprised that they actually let Coruscant be captured, but at the same time, that was a question I had in my mind for a few books now is, okay, are they going to get to Coruscant? Are they actually going to get all the way to, you know, the core? And are they going to take Coruscant? And so it's been a question I've had, so... That was a big deal. Yeah. And so I think it was a good build and a steady, you know, we talked about how the maps throughout the books have changed with the territory being eaten up by the Yuuzhan Vong every book. And so that's the big, like, I don't know, it's not a huge piece, but it's a interesting piece. What do you guys think about the whole fall of Coruscant?
That's the thing, right? Coruscant has been through so much in the history of these Legends books.
Seriously, like, the Empire is not even like a distant memory yet. It's like living memory.
Yeah, so that's what gets me. It's like we've got you know, going back to some of the earlier stuff. We've got the Jedi Order, the Republic, etc., and then you've got the fall of the Republic into the Empire. And then now you've got this New Republic and another battle, another major, I guess, milestone in the history of this planet. You know, the fall to the Yuuzhan Vong. It's like, we've lost not just a couple of, in my opinion, pretty major characters in Legends, but we're also completely lost on this planet too. And it's like, again, how many times is this going to happen?
Yeah.
I think the Voxyn have absolutely taken over Jared's stream, interrupting.
Jared's not coming back.
No,
he is going with the Force. He's gone.
Yeah. In the Chicago River, along with all the wasted cabinets. But I think we're gonna have to land this show without Jared. So how about we?
This is actually kind of poetic, you know.
It is. We lost a major character halfway through.
Our favorite child of the Star Wars is not here.
So we've got an episode coming up. This is actually our last live stream for a while, so it's kind of sad. You know, we haven't talked about it a lot, but we are going audio only for a bit. We're working on a lot of things behind the scenes, working around some schedules, new content coming out. So there's a lot of new stuff developing, and we really want to give it a good thought. And, you know, the only way to do that is to not stretch ourselves so thin and to reel back. We're going to continue to publish that audio consistently. We are going to continue to do live shows every once in a while. Rick, Emily, anything you guys want to plug in here?
Yeah, I mean, nothing's changing as far as, like you said, we're going to keep on doing the show and everything. Just we're changing to the format, possibly. We're kind of experimenting with some options, but so don't be surprised if you don't see us live, but you hear us on the podcast stream. But all that's kind of being determined right now. That being said, we do have some cool stuff cooking that we can't talk about yet that we're excited about. So stay tuned for that for sure.
Yeah, well, that'll do it for this week's episode of Legends Look Back. If you're looking for other podcasts to expand your fandom, be sure to check out the rest of our lineup in the Utini Network, including The Cosmic Force, the Star Wars Archives, the Utini Show, and the Utini Canon Book Club. Thank you to the proud members of the United on Patreon. Special thank you to Brian Dooley, Carl Sander, and Michael Fry on our High Council, and James T., Ashley Ingalls, and Colton Fife on our Captain Tier for their amazing support. Catch us live every other Tuesday night at 8:30 Central. Of course, TBD could be changing. Of course, if you see any of our episodes, ring that bell if you want to get notified for any of our live episodes. And leave us a review in your podcast platform of choice. Want your thoughts read on the show? Email us at legendslookback@utini.com. All right, sorry. Screen minimized. We're also on Twitter or X. I'm not sure what it's called now. It's at legendslookback. Message us there. Let's keep the party going and hop on over to Discord, where we're continuing the conversation with other Utinians about this week's episode. Find us in the Legends Books channel. All right, that's it for us. Keep exploring, keep sharing, and let's keep on expanding the universe together. May the Force be with you.
This is a Utini broadcast.